is a beautiful Wednesday morning right here. Quite cool weather we're enjoying in Asaba, the beautiful capital city of Delta State, Nigeria. This is Delta Television, Asaba, the people's pride. On behalf of management and staff of Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba, we make you welcome to a beautiful Wednesday morning's offering morning ride, our daily tonic right here on Delta Television, Asaba. My name is Onome Iyaroe. I'm your host this morning, working alongside Francis Ofuloy.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to be here this morning and welcome to Wednesday edition of the program Morning Ride.
It's a pleasure to always be here, Mondays through Fridays, to bring you the best of information, education, and entertainment. Everything new happens right here on Morning Ride on Delta Television, Asaba. And so this Wednesday is not different, as we'll be kickstarting, as usual, with Street Talk.
I'm wondering what's on the bag this morning for
Exactly.
Street Talk.
The Street Talk will be looking at how regular or frequent is electricity supply in our areas. That is something that's been calling for so much attention, but nothing seems to be happening because in all we hear, in all we experience is blackout. Yeah.
Well, when God created the world, they said the first thing he said was, let there be light. And that helped the creativity. So if I've been talking about the situation of the country so far, one of the first things we need is to have power in the country. Lights, in other words, power. This will help us
We're
become
not seeing that
more creative, not
happening.
seeing that at all. Whether it comes to the small scale businesses
Exactly.
that thrives, that make the society to be developed, we need to have power. The US of A, United States of America,
Yes.
practices a system where people have their own business, small scale businesses here and there. And there's 24 hours power supply. So it makes it easier for the average mind who has innovative ideas to go do what they want to do and be strong. So I really encourage the Federal Republic of Nigeria to work so hard to achieve this. The president,
Well, there have been so much promises
Here and
in
there.
administrations past, in years past.
with power grid collapsing every other Tuesday. Sadly, though, during the interview of El Rufai at
Yes.
Rice Television, where he talked about how the president approached him to become Minister of Power Energy because he has many dreams to give Nigeria 24 hours power supply. The president said, and I paraphrase the quote, he said that, according to El Rufai, that you have so many ideas to give Nigeria power. This is one issue that has not been handled all these years, so please get into my system. It's quite funny that the political turmoil here and there somehow
Has not
made the
actually
president
allowed
let go of
the
El
president-
Rufai,
exactly.
who has defected now, and brought in Adilapu, who has not given Nigeria power
Power up
since
to
2023.
Yes.
We're going through this, it's a problem.
Yes.
I think that every president should, before declaring River State as a state of emergency, the situation we'll talk about later, you should have declared the Nigerian state of power in a state of emergency. We can't be
Well,
the giant of
don't-
Africa
yes,
and be
we
going through this
really
power
don't.
situation.
Yes, we really don't see declaration of state of emergency in power sector happening because if you ask me, past presidents and current presidents, they are culpable. They
Yes.
are yes.
Yes.
Or Nigerian people are to actually hold these people responsible. But another question we ask: how do Nigerians hold past and present governors or presidents responsible for what is happening in the power sector? Now, TCN will come up with regulations, governments will come up with different regulations, tariff increases here and there. But in all of these increments, we don't get to see or get power supply. The best we get in a day in some areas where there is power supply at all is 2 hours in a day. And it's a big problem.
Sad.
We've said this time and time again. Businesses, small businesses especially, have folded up because of lack of
power
power. Well, this morning, Patience is on the street to find out from our respondents how power supply is in their areas. You'll be surprised what she will bring back. Well, once we're done with Street Talk, we'll move on to our next stop, which will be trending headlines. Francis, you can guess what the headlines today
It's about, I know it's
like.
about emergency,
Oh,
so we'll
yes.
get there. We shall
Oh,
get there.
yes. So once we're done with trending headlines, we'll move on to our interview segment and trust what that will be on. Exactly what is trending. The declaration of state of emergency in River State, Nigeria, suspension of the governor, his deputy, and all members of the State House of Assembly for 6 whole months. Once we're done with that interview, we'll say our goodbyes on Moonlight Wednesday's edition. Once again, welcome on board as we roll our features one after the other. It promises to be very beautiful. Good morning.
Make it juicy.
Electricity is supposed to be one of the most necessities, yet in Nigeria, it feels like luxury. We have high electricity bill and we have lack of power supply. But Nigerians will always survive, so they have found out a way to go about it to run their businesses and also their homes. But the bone of contention is that a real solution? Hello Nigeria, this is Delta TV, the People's Pride. My name is Patience Ifere, and I'm here on the streets to inquire, to ask people to know how they have been surviving on the streets of Asaba with the lack of power supply in Nigeria. Some Nigerians have argued that there has been constant power supply in their area, while some others have been complaining that it is worse. But we have a young man here who would tell us how his experiences has been with the power supply in Nigeria.
I cannot lie for Nigeria, so I do honest for everything what they do for this country. So if where you do honest, God will give you a favor. So some part of people, you not have lights. Lights, some part of get, some part of not get. So everything not there, okay for Nigeria.
So in your area, is there been constant power supply in the area?
Of course, you have 33.
Okay.
You get yes, you get one where they cut 30, you get one where they cut 11 lights.
Okay.
So for my area, they have 33 everyday light, but 11 they don't have light.
Okay.
Yes, that's all.
So you are saying that the government in your area are really, really trying?
Yes, they really try for that side. But it's now money, because when they give you the bill, you self, you go say, I beg, make I just quickly cut it off.
Okay, so they should lessen the bill
Yes.
and give us more light.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so how long, sir, have you stayed in Nigeria without electricity?
To be honest with you, I can't tell because it's something that is unpleasant. Yeah, it's not something nice. At least you can stay in a day, 2 days, 3 days, no light. There was a time that our transformer had issue. Some bad boys came into the transformer to boggle it. We went to NEPA to complain. NEPA said we had to fix it ourselves. This is a situation. This is an electricity. This is a service we are paying for. We stay more than 4-5 months, no light, until we are able to raise the amount. And we called them. We paid for their services. We paid for the thing that was stolen. Till date now, the light is not still constant.
Okay, so when we had the national grid issue, it also affected the area.
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
It did.
you're telling the government to try to bring
Improve.
more,
Yes.
improve
Improve in the power supply.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking these people in charge of distribution, they have issues. Because if government take time, put on task force to monitor these people, because you only find light in the area where you have 33. What about those that are using a level? I didn't know human being. I did not consumers. It's only the 33 consumer that is fit to enjoy light. It is bad.
What do you say about high tariff?
Is another area of concern. It is too high. Before, when you buy a light of 2,000 naira, you can use it for a month. But these days, it won't get to a month. It's finished.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
If there was constant power supply in Nigeria, how do you think it will affect the lives of the citizens and people at large?
Okay, I feel if Nigeria have a full power supply, definitely it will help the employment of the country, and as well increase the small scale businesses of the citizens and help them have more income for themselves.
Okay, thank you. So you as a person, sorry to ask, do you have a skill? Do you have something doing? Are you a student?
I'm a student.
Okay. So how do you manage when you want to read your book and there's no constant power supply? How do you manage? How do you go about it?
It's very difficult because for a student you have to use candles, torchlight, and definitely those things affect the eyesight. So it's best if the government can help us with good power supply, so we the students can actually read properly instead of the candles and torchlight that definitely will have effect on our eyes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, health is wealth, and the government needs to do better in this. Thank you. How are you coping with the lack of power supply in Nigeria in your area?
The power of this thing of the lights. According the light is too low here in Delta State. In the place that I'm living now, I will pay my NEPA bill with my neighbors. Once we are done paying the NEPA bill, they will not give us light to the ending, towards the ending of that month. Again, they will start supplying us light so that we have the opportunity to come again and took another one. Then sometimes they used to use it and do business. You hear that it's not the chairman that is before, is now. That they have changed the situation, that maybe we are paying 335 every month. They will come and improve it to 4,000, 8,000. That is how they used to do in my own. But immediately I changed location. I'm living in Ibuzo before Intabua Junction. There now there is no single light. You can't see light. Even though you paid, you can't see light throughout this month now. It's only once now we have seen light in my area. If I come back from work, sometimes I will hope that, like today now my phone is off. I have so many work that I have to attend, but due to lack of lights, I'm not be able to charge my phone. I have to pay. Even though say I paid my NEPA bill, I have to pay to a business center so that I can even charge my phone so that I will make a call for work. That is too local for here. How can someone struggle, work so hard to have money, and you paid with your hard-earned money for you to receive what you paid? It will be hard for them. It's not good.
Okay, thank you. So you're saying there's so much corruption. Even when you pay NEPA bill, they will still not give you light until the end of the month so that they will come and get another income money from electricity bill from you people, right? So how do you think the government can curb all of this corruption so that you can have constant power supply?
Okay. In my own opinion, I would say that let the government, if the government can help and put some, like, assign some people as agents to visit different community, different apartments here in Delta State, to know how they cope in lights. Then from there now they will have the solution. From what those people investigate, they will have a solution to sort it out for themselves.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
We have people running their businesses and homes with other power supplies like generator, solar, and every other thing they can think of without using the normal electricity bill in Nigeria. So, Ma, how do you go about these things?
Personally, I have solar in my house. I install solar. I'm an alternative energy engineer.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is to not have lights. And there are other alternatives too, like generator, but because of the high cost of fuel, I would advise people go for solar. It mustn't be solar that will power, the whole duplex. You can just get solar fan. I have solar fan. I have like 2, and it should be 7 years now. They have their own inbuilt battery, their own panel, their own bulbs, 2 bulbs. So with that, I can also charge my phone because they have a USB port for charging. Then another one is You can install solar that can just power your TV. You know, go for affordable solar, because solar, the materials now are very costly. But if you really want to have solar, you will have one. Have the one that can power your TV, your fans, and your bulbs. You are good to go.
Thank you very much, Ma, for that. But do you think to an extent it is sustainable to an average Nigerian? Because we are citizens and we are supposed to enjoy certain privileges as citizens of a particular country.
That the government is supposed, this is an alternative means of providing electricity for oneself. But on the other hand, the government is supposed to, provide electricity. The electricity, the way it's going is not really good. At least there should be light. If it's 11:11 or 33, there should be constant light. It's just the lack of the government's own part, lack on the government own part. That's why we have this alternative. Otherwise, it's not something that one should be thinking of. But it's a basic amenity. It's supposed to be a basic amenity that government to provide. But since it's this way, I advise everybody just get a solar that is friendly to your pocket. Just get a cheap. We have very cheap solar.
Thank you very much. So in essence, what you're saying is we should not really depend on the government. If we have the means to buy solar and other things to power, to run our business or our homes going, we should try to afford it and not depend on the government.
Because the truth is that government cannot do everything. If we are truthful to ourselves, governments are doing a lot. It's just that area of electricity, they still need to step up. They still need to, look into it, because it's not good the way it is now.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you so much.
Have a nice day, Mar. How is power supply in your area, sir?
There is no power supply in my area. There is no light at all. Since like 3 months now, we haven't even seen light at all. There is nothing at all. As in, this country is out of hand. People are very suffering. From very far where I'm staying, I don't see any light at all. Even to charge my phone, to do some kind of things, there's no light at all. To buy fuel is much expensive in this country now. So I just think that this country, they just need to know what to do about it. Even if this government of a thing, they should at least give people light. Let the country, because we have this, we have the light, we have everything. But it's the people that managing it for us. It's the people that are suffering us in this country. So I think that the best thing for this country to do is to get a good government. That is the best thing. And for us to get a good government, we need to come out in one mind, fight for it. That is it. But for the country, it's very bad. Please, it's very, very bad. And
do you have a business running, sir?
Yes, I have business I'm running.
So how do you go about your business with this lack of power supply in Nigeria?
It's very, very expensive to me, because sometimes now from before, I used to go work with like 500 naira going and coming back transportation, but now it's about 3,000 naira. So money that I'm and food expenses there. Before we used to eat like, let's just say 700 naira, 1,000 naira a plate, but now it's like 2,500, 3,000 naira. So when you do business and you get up to a gain of 10,000 naira for your business in a month, for the whole expenses where you do, you will not even see up to 500 naira for it. So it's very, very bad.
Sometimes we don't need to wait for the government to do everything for us as citizens. So do you encourage buying of solar to run your business?
That is much better, but the problem for that solar, because the one that I bought before, it's not up to 1 year and the thing went off. So when I try to call the company, they try to say maybe something, or something. I say I should need to pay another month. So it's to get the current solar that will last for people. Then it's more better than all this NEPA of a thing.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you.
If there should be constant power supply in Nigeria, how do you think it will affect the life of citizens and the economy at large, Ma?
Well, if there is constant light in the nation, let's take for example in Asaba, it's going to make a positive impact in the lives of people that are living in Asaba. First of all, there will be water, because without water, without light, without light, there is no water. And again, food here. Everybody in Asaba knows that food is expensive. Okay, take for instance now, I myself, I'll go to the market as a single lady. I'll buy foodstuffs, I'll prepare it, hoping for NEPA people to bring light. And at the end of the day, there will be no light, and my food will spoil. You understand? So, light in Asaba is very disturbing issue, because if the government of Delta State can look into it, because where I grew up, we used to have constant electricity. Like in a day, I can boast of between 18 to 20 hour light. I was raised in Onisha, and where I did my youth service in Osun State, I can boast of, I don't know for now, but then I can boast of between 19 to 23 hour lights in a day. So lights, electricity in this town, as far as I'm concerned, is a vital thing that's supposed to make life easier for you and I, because the cost of living is already high. You can imagine going to the market to buy foodstuffs that is very expensive. You come back home, you prepare your soup, you prepare your stew, you even bought meat. Then at the end of the day, you will trash all those things in the waste bin. So check it out. The government should do something about this light issue, because it's becoming unbearable.
Thank you very much. So you're saying if there were to be 24 hours lighting in Nigeria, all of these things put in play, constant power, like your food will not spoil, your business will not go bad. Probably, I don't know the business. Do you have any business running, Ma?
Yes, I work in a factory.
Okay, so in a factory, what kind of factory, and how do you go about it when there is no constant power supply?
If there is no constant power supply, there will be no production. That's just it.
Thank you very much, Ma.
You're welcome.
Have a nice day, Ma. Some Nigerians claim that in their areas there is constant power supply, while some say that in their areas it is worse. In fact, they have no power supply. And we have this young man here who needs to tell us how there is power supply situation in his area.
Okay, the power supply situation in the country is very poor. It's very, very poor. In fact, even in my area, we've not been seeing lights for like days. But, in a week, we have lights for only 2 days. Even the 2 days, it's not even up to 10 hours. So the power supply situation is very, very poor in the country. So I think the leaders should improve so that we can all have lights. Everybody know the importance of lights. Without lights, we cannot go on with our normal activities very well. That's what I have to say.
So, sir, do you pay electricity bill every month?
Of course.
Is there an increase in the plan, or is still the same thing?
No, it's not the same thing. You know, monthly the plan goes up. So, like the amount you paid last month is different from the one I paid this month. So it's not the same, and the situation of the lights is even worse. And the problem is, if you don't pay the money, they'll disconnect the lights. So when the light is available for others, you won't even have access to the light.
So do you have a business running that you use power supply constantly to generate income?
No.
Okay, so what do you do, sir, please?
Me, I'm a medicine man.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
What is the light situation in your area, Ma?
In my area, no, I'm not based in Asaba. I just came into Asaba on a Sunday, like few days ago. And let me say, in Asaba here, there is no lights. Since I came in on Sunday, there have not been lights in the place I'm staying. There have not been lights. Unlike Lagos, yes, unlike Lagos, where I stay in Lagos, in fact, there's hardly a day you won't see lights.
So you're encouraging, or you're telling the government of Asaba to do better. And Lagos, where exactly? Because I understand that they are not all in all areas that there will be constant power supply.
Yes, where I stay in Lagos, in Lekki area of Lagos, Yes, it has not been like that before, but for like 6 months now, they have changed for the better. They have turned a new leaf. So I'm encouraging the government over here, like in Asaba or Delta in general, they should do well. They should do well. It's not encouraging.
So if there to be 24-hour light power supply in Asaba, I know you don't say in Asaba, but can you answer, how do you think the businesses and possibly education of people will go well, will thrive well in this economy?
It will definitely skyrocket, because yesterday I was asking my sister, so how do people that sell pure water, all this drink, how will they cope in this kind of situation? And her answer was like, if you don't have money to fuel your generator, to power your generator, there's no business for you in this Asaba. And I felt so bad. Like, I felt so bad. That shouldn't be. Yes, the government should do something. The people will actually be very happy, especially the business owner. They will be. In fact, imagine if I want to start a pure water business now or a drink business, I will be thinking like the little amount I have cannot start it, because I will have to think about the money I'm going to use to get fuel, and you know fuel is not cheap anymore. It has increased. So I will be thinking about all those stuff, like the little money I have cannot start it for me. So please, they should do something. Please, they should do something. Asaba is my place. It's just that I'm not based here, but it's my place.
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
A lot has been said on this particular topic. Some persons have their view that there is no constant power supply in their area, while some has also concluded that there is constant power supply in their area. But in a nutshell, we are encouraging the government at all levels to try to listen to their voices and provide constant power supply for them to be able to run their businesses. We want a situation whereby power supply will become a reality and not a dream. My name is Patience Ifere. This is Street Talk on Delta TV.
Make it juicy.
if tanker wey carry fuel fall or pipe wey carry fuel for underground burst, wetin you go do? You go begin bail fuel put for your bucket, or you go run comot far far for where the fire go soon come. Na only small time you get to take this wise decision. Waka comot, no, that one no dey enough. Shift, no, that one no dey enough. Stay there dey gist and take pictures with your phone. That na madness. Run, yes, run comot. Yes, your life depend on wetin you do. The fire go come at once and you no go fit control am. Why? Petrol dey catch fire easily. Why? Na just small spark go start big fire. So no stay there dey think. Run comot quick to save your life. No throway your life away because of say you wan pack petrol. Take this advice. This informate na from Public Enlightenment Office, Delta Broadcasting Service, Asaba.
Welcome. This is Morning Ride Wednesday's edition. We welcome you to this segment, Trending Headlines, where we look at the national dailies for today, the major stories trending in each of our dailies. This morning, we're joined by our analyst, Engineer Meshach Oza.
Yeah, very
Good to
wonderful
have you.
morning. Always a
Good
pleasure.
morning.
Good to have you. Welcome to Morning Ride, Engineer Meshach.
Thanks for having
Oza.
me.
Yeah, we can feel the mood of all Nigerians from where we are at. Well, mixed feelings, I must say. But let's see what the dailies have. We have the Vanguard newspaper for review this morning, This Day newspaper, the Daily Independent, the Daily Trust, the Punch newspaper, the Guardian, Daily Sun, the Daily Times, and of course the Nigerian Tribune. We have the Nation. These are the papers for review this morning. We'll quickly take headlines from the Vanguard newspaper.
Now let's look at the Vanguard newspaper for this morning and see the major headlines trending right here on the Vanguard newspaper. The big headline here says, tension as Tinubu declares state of emergency in Rivers. The writers are very much here, but we'll just skip that because other papers are going to have this story as a major headline. Now, at the top of the Vanguard masthead, we have here, Dangote meets Edu on Naira for crude deal, business environment on page 20. Lawyers, Atiku, George, others fault emergency rule declaration, that's on page 8. On page 5, we have bill mandating Facebook bloggers, others to have offices in Nigeria. Passes second reading in Senate on page 5. On page 12, Delta Governor, oil ministers, others for Vanguard local content conference in Warri today. Just underneath the photo speak, we have Wike revokes land housing PDP's new National Secretariat complex. That's on page 5. The writer says revocation attempt to silence opposition coming from the PDP. By the side of the photo speak, we have Tinubu lacks powers to suspend a governor coming from PDP on page 9. And finally, on page 13, federal government confirms 400,000 tobacco in 2024. Those are the major stories making the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
All right, we look at This Day newspaper. The screaming headline from This Day newspaper: Tinubu declares state of emergency in Rivers State. The riders include suspends Fubara deputy state assembly for 6 months, appoints ex-CNS EBAS administrator. Okay, tension escalates. Explosion caused by sabotage. Niger Delta Group declares. Activist states explosion not politically motivated. All right, explosion rocks 50,000 oil pipeline. Political tension escalates. Well, those are the riders to that story. Tinubu declares state of emergency in Rivers State. From the top strip, we have this story. Let's see. Let's see. International Women's Month. Arise News honors women making impact. That story you'll find on the top strip, and it continues in the inside page of This Day newspaper. We have this headline here. Let's see it. Okay, not so clear. Well, the photo speak is on Governor Fubara and that of President Tinubu. I know this story will trend in all of the dailies. Well, that's all we're following from This Day newspaper.
All right, let's look at the Punch newspaper this morning. And yes, of course, it's the big story. The Punch newspaper. The big story here says emergency rule. Soldiers, tanks move into Rivers government house. The riders are a lot, and I'll take them one after the other. NBA lawyers say suspensions illegal. PDP LP article Pandef slam Tinubu. National Assembly to debate President's state of emergency today. Fubara blames pro-Wike lawmakers. Ibas takes over. And finally, on the rider, Wike versus Fubara, Governor, Assembly members, turbulent, road to suspension. Well, that's the big headline on the Punch newspaper. Other stories here underneath the page speak. Libya to deport over 170 Nigerians. At the top strip, FG deducts state's 800 billion naira as L loses bid to stop Dangote's 100 billion naira suit. And we'll take one or two more stories. This one is on entertainment. Mobat's father asks courts to quash legal advice free Naira Marley. And finally, this one I'll take it. 14. 9 Mobile accused of blocking subscribers from switching operators. That's on page 28. It's on 14. I also have that complaint personally. But let's move to our next paper this morning.
Okay, the next paper for review is the Daily Independent. The Daily Independent's bold headline here, same. Well, Tinubu draws criticisms over state of emergency in Rivers. That story is on page 29 of Daily Independent. The writers include suspends governor, deputy, House of Assembly members, appoints Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, sole administrator. It's risks of political manipulation, outright bad faith, says Atiku. All right. It is unconstitutional to suspend Fubara deputy, lawyers say. Then Tinubu has just declared state of anarchy in Rivers. Body George says, okay, that's from Kuye. And then Body George says, state of emergency, vicious violation of constitution. And then PDP rejects emergency rule in Rivers, says a state captain. Okay, away from that story, from the top strip, let's see this. Reps pass bills. The story runs through the front page of the Daily Independent and continues in the inside page. Senate to make social media platforms. Bloggers have offices in Nigeria. Okay, please get the details from the Daily Independent. Then from the bottom strip, explosions rock 2 Rivers oil facilities amid political tension. Okay, from page 4, page 7 here, revocation of our national headquarters right of occupancy aimed at stifling opposition, says PDP. Details on page 7. Page 6 has a story. Pengassan insists on reinstatement of 18 sacked oil gas workers. Also on page 7, FAC allocation soar by 43% to 15.26 trillion naira in 2024. And on page 6, Senate to probe annexation of Nigerian land by Cameroon. The bottom strip has 15 billion euro Petro Union case. Attorney General steps in. These are the stories are following from the Daily Independent.
All right, let's look at the Nigerian Tribune this morning, the Nigerian Tribune. And it has the big headline, Tinubu puts Rivers under emergency rule. That's on page 4. Several writers here, but we'll move to the top strip of the Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu lacks powers to suspend elected governor, coming from the opposition party, the PDP. And here we have Senate probes annexation of Nigerian mangrove islands, 2,560 oil wells by Cameroon. And those are the big stories at the top strip. Other stories here says $15 billion Petro Union case. Attorney General steps in. Ogun government sets March 31 deadline for headers registration. UBA launches Afrigo card to revolutionize domestic payments. Explosions rock Trans-Niger pipeline in Rivers. Police arrest 2. Those are the major stories.
State of emergency without removing governors, governors. Okay. From the top strip, we take this headline. World leaders fume as Israel's strikes kill over 400 in Gaza. Okay, that's on page 19. Revocation of a land plot to stifle opposition, says PDP. 33 killed in Edo road crashes in Nigerians in 1 year. These are the stories we're tracking on the Daily Trust this morning.
All right, let's look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. And the Guardian has headlines that are related again. Rivers pipeline explosion may cost $35.3 million lost daily as state of emergency begins. That's on page 6. We have PDP, NWC kicks as Wike revokes Wadata Plaza new secretariat plots. Senate braces for backlash as social media bill scales second reading. Osun APC governors, ministers to stop demarketing party for Adeleke. More stories here. Pengassan accuses federal government of aiding 11,000 Indians to secure Nigerian jobs. Over 34 million citizens hungry require urgent help, says ECOWAS. Delivering affordable electricity beyond pledges and declaration. Is that the editorial page on the Guardian newspaper this morning? And we have weak Naira pushes FG states allocation to 15.2 trillion naira amid hunger. These are the top strip. Also at the top strip, Dangote cement, salt, sugar businesses lose 423 billion naira crisis. And finally at the top strip, EFCC blames corrupt politicians, fraudsters for nation's bad image abroad. Those stories making the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
All right, the Daily Sun is next. On the Daily Sun, Hurricane Tinubu sweeps out Governor Fubara lawmakers. They call it Hurricane Tinubu. Hurricane Tinubu sweeps out Governor Fubara lawmakers. The riders include President declares emergency rule in Rivers, suspends democratic government, appoints ex-naval chief, sole administrator for initial 6 months. Atiku, Bode George, flee move. Senate to take decision on president's action today. All right, from the top strip, let's see this. On page 27, new twist as Nnamdi Kanu opts for self-defense in trial. The rider, only dialogue can end sit at home in Southeast. IPOB advises military.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, we have this one from the bottom strip. Umba flags off construction of 141 urban roads in Enugu. Senate probes Cameroon's alleged incursion into Nigeria's maritime territories in Akwa Ibom. That story is on page 6. These are the stories we're following from the Daily Sun.
Okay, I think finally it's the Nation newspaper. Let's look at this one. The headlines: Fubara Amalule gone with Tinubu's emergency declaration. That's the big headline on the Nation newspaper. And the top strip: House of Reps passes tax reform bills. Reinstated Osun Council chairman gets Algon's backing. And the other headline at the top strip, very hard to see, but it's on the bill to regulate social media skills second reading in Senate. And then Okpebo law to probe Obaseki over $10 million observer fund. Still on the front page of the Nation newspaper, PDP, CBN, INEC, NUC, NNPCL, others lose plots of land in Abuja. And at the bottom strip, court dismisses NNPCL's objection to Dangote's suit on import license. Those are the stories making the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning.
I must say they're all loud headlines. All right, welcome to the analysis table this morning as we look at each item on our national dailies and I get the deepest analysis we can get from Engineer Meshach.
Very painful.
Okay.
Very sad.
Yes, so let's look at it this way. The Vanguard captions is this way: tension as Tinubu declares state of emergency in Rivers.
Yes.
This way, Tinubu declares state of emergency in Rivers State. Yeah. Daily Independent, Tinubu draws criticisms over state of emergency in Rivers. Daily Trust, Tinubu erred by removing Fubara deputy, says lawyers.
Yes, very much to say about a state of emergency. It's within its constitutional power. Section 305, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution enables him as the president and commander-in-chief in cases of high tension and security breaches and for fear of security escalation. He has within the constitutional powers to instigate a state of emergency. But the removal of Fubara and elected members of the State House of Assembly are truly unconstitutional. Now we're looking at something that is premised on the fundamentals. Like a lot of people have referenced the fact that yes, Rivers State is the treasure base of the nation, no doubt. And when you look at what premeditated this state of emergency, it's the result of the bombings of oil pipelines yesterday in 2 locations, and a pipeline on the flow station. The president had to, I think, considering the fact that it's constitutional, the reasons for the removal, the oil pipelines that were vandalized, there was not any form of altercation or confrontation or security threats within and among the people of Rivers State yet. The threats are mostly centered around political gladiators, and that is what I expected he should have tackled. He has kept mute over the last couple of months, going to a year. He has called meetings. For the first time, I saw a president that called for meetings of truce and truth was not established. Now, this is the caveat. It's so unfortunate. The players of this crisis, the actors in this crisis, talking about Mwike, members of the House of Assembly, Fubara, are all culpable in what has escalated to the level of putting up a state of emergency. Now, the culpability can never be overemphasized, because when you look at, I expected the president, if the president is putting up a state of emergency in Rivers State and sacking the House of Assembly and the elected governor and members of the House of Assembly, Mwike himself should be asked to vacate his seat as the FCT minister, because the facts are very open. He is the voice of Esau and the hand of Jacob. Everybody knows that he has come out to say it. And you know that those are his proxies. He's the mentor. They are his mentee. They are his prodigies. I'm talking of members of the House of Assembly. They are acting out Mwike's script. And if Rivers State elders have called him to order, he has refused to take orders. Now, it is not like Fubara is a saint. He is not. Fubara overstepped his boundaries by, first and foremost, there was no till date. We don't have any justification for the demolition of the Rivers State House of Assembly. That escalated the crisis. The crisis came immediately after I was sworn in. Whatever allegiance they had before the election, during the election, and expectedly after the election, if not agreed, is not done for business. The business of the day is that the Rivers people need good governance, and that is what they crave for. But then they started with a war with the House of Assembly and the Rivers State people. So I think it is a justifiable state of emergency. Now, where he missed it, that he lacks the constitutional powers to remove the governor and members of, because they were elected by the people.
Okay, that's the president you're talking
the
about
president.
now, where he missed it, okay.
Yes,
okay.
He can declare state of emergency,
okay.
But it should not have. We've had a state of emergency in Plateau State, we've had in Ekiti State, we've had some states. No governor was removed.
Okay.
The governor was the state of emergency were there. The reflection is there was an increase in the presence of military and security agents. That's what state of emergency is, to help in curtailing and restoring peace. But now you declare the state of emergency, you brought IBAS, the vice. That means you are taking us back to where we ran away from. This is pure anarchy at this highest level.
But the Supreme Court ruled that a state that doesn't have a functioning lawmaking chamber is not a functional state, and perhaps
let's understand something. No, now when we're talking
I'm just asking.
Yes, you're just asking. What gives you the impression that Rivers State was not functioning? There are cases in court. The judiciary is even part of the problem. The Supreme Court is one of the biggest part of this problem. Now the cases are in court. The Supreme Court didn't have any business to make reference to the houses of assembly members. They are decamping from PDP to APC. Those members already swore on oath that they have left PDP to APC. And the case is still in the lower court, the Rivers State High Court. Now the Supreme Court the judgment of the Supreme Court was like a script that was written out, and pronouncement was made by the judges. You cannot have Mwike's wife is a member of the Supreme Court and is an arm of this crisis. So there's no justification for fairness in the judgment that was dispensed. Now, looking at it critically, since the case is still in court, in a lower court in Port Harcourt, there was no way the Supreme Court could have brought a judgment in relation to the restoration of the 27 members. At that time, for them to have left the APC, the PDP for the APC, their seats were declared vacant, and we had only 3 members. There had to be a by-election, but the case was still in court. The legislator was working under the other speaker. It's not like the legislator wasn't working. If you say somebody had decamped, the seat became vacant, it is the responsibility of INEC to conduct a by-election, but the case was still in court and it was dragging. So I totally disagree when some people will come out with the postulation that the legislature was not. The legislature was there.
Okay. There's an argument that legislature was it had just a few members, about 3 to 5 members, and that couldn't have made up for the quota needed to run a legislature. But let's look at the president's reasons for the suspension of the governor, deputy, and members of the state assembly. He said it's of public notice that the governor of Rivers State, for unjustifiable reasons, demolished the House of Assembly as far back as 13th December 2023, and has up until now, 14 months after, not rebuilt same. The president said, I have made personal interventions between the contending parties for a peaceful resolution of the crisis, but my efforts have been largely ignored by the parties to the crisis. He says, I am also aware that many well-meaning Nigerians, leaders of thought and patriotic groups have also intervened at various times with the best of intentions to resolve the matter, but all their efforts were also to no avail. Yes, the issues are many. These
Now,
are just
the issues
few
are
of
many,
them. Yes.
but they're fundamental.
Yes. He
Now,
actually
let me
cited
tell you where
the
the president
Constitution.
where the president missed it.
Okay.
The president cannot tell Nigerians that he didn't know or he does not know that the crisis in Rivers State was being funded, was being orchestrated, was being instigated by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. The president cannot tell Nigerians he doesn't know.
No, but the president also inferred that
Yeah.
he handled the case of Ambode in a different manner, noting that elections are what exactly does.
Ambode's
things like
case,
that.
Ambode's
He
case,
mentioned it somehow
Ambode's
during the
case
speech.
and Rivers case are
They are
two
different,
scenarios.
yes.
But
There
he
was no
handled-
violence in
they
Lagos
are
State then.
It was also a case of loyalty as well.
Yes, Ambode's case was totally different. Ambode was not antagonistic towards Tinubu at that time. That was one. Secondly, there was internal democracy within the APC in Lagos State at that time that was so structured that it was just a phasing out of the leadership of Ambode and bringing in
But
this-
Tinubu handled it better, that's the point.
Yes, that is where the issue. Now, it is a clear indication that Tinubu is not in charge over some members of this executive council.
What if
Because
it's
the
the
impunity,
advisors? Okay, what if
the impunity with which Nyesom Wike handles matters. You see, you will see that it's a case of vendetta. Wike is the biggest executive problem Nigeria has presently. Nyesom Wike is the biggest problem. Now, the president should have called Wike. Look, he's feeling Wike is the de facto president of this country. Believe what I'm telling you. The president is undermining the constitution. If Wike is okay, look at what he has said. There's no harm. You should have reprimanded Wike. If you are suspending Wike, should have been relieved of his
The
position.
doctor of law will come later on and talk about the legal aspect of this.
yes.
But for you
Because,
now,
yes.
the question I want to ask is
I'm
quite
ready.
simple. There are quotas that believe that Tinubu is deliberately pushing Wike to destabilize Rivers State so he can catch Rivers State during the next election. Do you
Well,
agree
those
with
are
that?
more
I don't
hearsays.
I don't
Those are more
that.
hearsays than facts.
I don't
yes.
agree with that.
Okay.
Basically, the issue with Rivers State is interest. It's just Wike's selfish
It's not for the
antagonistic.
APC to grab Rivers State.
The APC cannot grab Rivers State if the people of Rivers State do not vote them in.
But the
Wike,
president won in Rivers State.
now there are insinuations. The president did
They're
not
only
win. The president was
According to the result.
manipulated.
According to the results.
According to the reason,
That's
was
what-
manipulated into
It's not-
winning in Rivers
Okay,
State.
so
not
let
proven
us
itself.
move out of politics because we're not. Yes, this story is on page 8. It says lawyers, article, judge, others fault emergency rule declaration. It's almost the same thing we're talking
Yeah,
about here. Okay, let's move on to other stories. Wike revokes land housing PDP's new national
I've never seen
secretariat
someone as power
complex.
drunk. I've never seen someone as
Okay.
power drunk as Nyesom
Okay,
Wike.
that story runs in.
It's
almost
just
on the
like
papers.
the revocation of the PDP that White House or whatever is like a son, a stepson, having his mother been separated from the father, because he built the house for the father, goes back, he still bears the father's name, goes back and says he wants to destroy the house because his mother and his father are separated. He's still your father. That is the situation Wike. Wike is a very vindictive and antagonistic leader who has arrogated so much power to himself and relinquished the rule of law to the abyss. Maybe because he thinks he has been able to cajole and manipulate his wife to become a judge or a judge of the Supreme Court. And they know that the vulnerability of our judicial system would aid and abate crime and criminality within the political elite. And that is what is playing out. Wike is stepping on a time bomb that would swallow him.
Talk about Wike stepping on time bomb. This headline says PDP NWC kicks as Wike revokes Wadata Plaza new secretariat plot.
They are absolutely
Your best friends
yes,
are
yes.
working.
You know the problem.
Then
I
this headline
totally
here, this headline from the Daily Independent says, revocation of our national headquarters right of occupancy aimed at stifling opposition. Says
Whatever they want to
PDP.
look at it, I totally blame PDP for the crisis they found themselves. Because they lacked the political will to nip the excesses of Wike in the board when it started. If they were into Wike has been acting in an anti-party form right from before the election. He has insulted the PDP Board of Trustees. He has insulted the G5 members. He has called PDP leadership different names, the National Working Committee. He has single-handedly taken decisions within the PDP. He has called them all fond of names. Now, if some people that have spoken less of the party, who are members of the party, have been reprimanded, have been made to face punitive measures. But Wike, that has done times 100 of what these people have done, they are so scared of him. Now, the issue is fundamental. Wike has seen that the present leadership of the PDP are a compilation of weaklings, a composition of weaklings who don't have political willpower, and that is why it's both in PDP and the APC. Just imagine your biggest enemy in the opposition, and is still in control of your structure. That is totally unacceptable. Internal democracy should have brought Wike to his knees, but now Wike is like the de facto chairman, board of trustees. Yes, board of trustees of the PDP.
No, it's all right. I'm trying to switch away from this Wike story because we're going to have a lawyer talk about this eventually.
Yes.
So let's look at this one. Senate to make social media platforms, bloggers have offices in Nigeria. Is it high time or is it necessary?
Is this what we want?
The Senate is a scam.
Is this one of the problems
the
of Nigerians?
my dear, the Senate is a scam. Will you come and first?
I don't get it.
Is the Senate going to pay the rent for the offices?
And for what purpose?
And for what purpose?
reason?
Let me tell you for the reason, so that when somebody when somebody says something on his blog,
so
they can easily trace to your office. That is
These are not the issues Nigerians are actually dealing with.
an affirmation of a weakness within the security architecture. Because I mean, bloggers, you can trace them if you want to trace them, for crying out loud. It's a confirmation of the weakness of the security architecture. If you can't compare a blogger. What is the meaning of blogging? Why do I need an office to be a blogger? That means what's the social for crying out loud?
Exactly. What's the social
Wouldn't
media?
create jobs?
My dear.
You know what? The House of Representatives
they are bereft of
actually
ideas.
that is it.
They
It's
don't
so
know what
obvious
to
they
do.
don't know
We
what
have
to do.
fundamental issues. They're not talking of rivers issues. They're not talking of
issues.
They're not talking of issues of inflation. They are talking of bloggers. Will you pay the rent?
Well, let's look at this headline. Reps pass tax reform bills. Yeah.
Well, tax reform is implement. You say I'm not against passing of these bills. Are implementable are these bills going to be that have been passed? Well, the tax reform bill has been long overdue. So I think it will bring a little bit of cushioning to the economic policies of the government, and of course bring an improvement in our GDP. So I think I'm in total support of it, and I think it's a good one if what I know about the bill is what is being passed.
Let's look at telecommunication now. This one, story is of particular interest to me. On the Punch newspaper, Porting, 9mobile accused of blocking subscribers from switching operators. It's particular to me. Because I've also struggled to port out of 9mobile. I can say this on TV because I've tried over 3-4 times. It didn't work out.
Why? It won't work out because what do you want to put them out of the market? So they have to look at
my right to port. It's my right.
And it's their right to block people that are leaving.
The SC gives me the right to port.
Why is
I don't like the network anymore.
When I say it's their rights on the lighter mood. Now, they are trying to, they have lost customer base. They have missed it because blocking your customers is not the response to defection to other communication.
And I have a 9mobile that says no
what do
service
they need? What do they need to do? The major complaint is efficiency of the network and connectivity and all that. They need to improve in their efficiency. They need to improve in their connectivity. They need to improve in their work ethics, because you can't continue blocking. The blocking, you can sue them for blocking you from porting. You can sue them.
You know, I'm a live victim, so it's not like they block you. It just does not work.
Yes,
so you keep on trying.
Well, I think, look here, now, let me make you understand something. I'm beginning to see the reason. Now, for you to say it's just that it does not work, the system, 9mobile itself, has not been working. So their masts and their telecommunications network are been undergoing a lot of efficiency infractions. So it is not about them blocking. You don't use, if you use the word block,
So it's network
it's
issue.
network issue.
It's all right. Let's take this one from the Punch newspaper. 100 billion naira allocations to pay foreign debt. That's on page 27. And then we have this one, fuel import. NNPCL loses bid to stop Dangote's 100 billion naira suits.
I don't
These two
see any
stories,
reason
yeah.
why you should deduct from the state government. What they should have done is to reduce the cost of governance.
But that is happening already. So
Yeah, it's
what
happened.
should
But I'm
happen?
just saying it. They should have reduced the cost of governance. Cost of governance is too expensive.
Okay.
The elected officials and appointed officials are earning far more than they should be earning, and it has made politics become a career, and it has made governance become too expensive. So when they reduce governance, the cost of governance, they'll be able to pay service some of these loans that were borrowed. But when you try to, it's a ripple effect, because we fall back to you and I, the public servants, and the burden of bad leadership will fall back on us. Economically, government will find it difficult to really, the state governments would find it difficult to steer the stewardship in the state. So I think the government is not getting it right. Our biggest problem is leadership, corruption in leadership, and the overbloated kind of government that we practice in Nigeria.
Let's look at the top strip of the
You've not spoken to fuel import. NNPCL loses bid to stop Dangote's 100 billion naira.
You see, Dangote, NNPC, Henderson, tanker drivers,
Okay.
all of them, Nupeng, they are not telling Nigerians the truth. Enough truth.
So who's going to tell the truth?
I really don't know, but I think we should be holistic about it, because today they will say we no longer import fuel. An arm of the oil and gas sector will come say we stay import.
Okay.
Today they will say there's subsidy on fuel. Today Dangote will bring down price. NNPC will. I mean, so the major problem we're facing is accountability.
Okay.
Now, when people are held accountable for certain decisions, for certain crimes, accountability will bring transparency in leadership. Until we hold people accountable, because there are a lot of infractions in the oil and gas sector, like we have in so many other sectors, and people are living off the Commonwealth of Nigerians. So people should be reprimanded and held accountable for their utterances. Some people are benefiting from importation of fuel. Some people are benefiting from the smuggling of fuel. So these cabals will make sure, like we have in the power sector, will make sure that these sectors don't function to the maximum, and they will create propaganda stories like all this that we see every day that would stir the honestness, that would heat up the polity and create diversion from what they are doing. So I mean, people should be held accountable.
Okay, this one at the top strip of the Daily Sun newspaper says, new twist as Nnamdi Kanu opts for self-defense in trial. The writer says only dialogue can end sit at home in Southeast. IPOB advises military.
I wouldn't call it a new twist. Kanu seems to be more intelligent than some of his lawyers. When you see his
Especially at the last outburst.
At the outburst. I mean, some of his lawyers, when they get to court, there's a level of timidity, maybe fear of reprimand by agents of government. So they have not been able to speak with one voice and with so much gusto. If you have not met him, you've heard him speak. You might think he's a lawyer. But I think having been faced with litigations in the last couple of years, continuous practice and listening, you can become a lawyer without knowing it, and that is the level he has gotten to. But moving forward, the issue is lack of trust for his lawyers. You don't need to be a lawyer to defend yourself. You can decide not to have a lawyer, and you want to take defense of yourself. It's a matter of question and answer.
Do we see this making any difference
Yes,
in
it
his
will make
case?
a lot of difference in his case.
All right.
But I think he needs to watch his temperament.
It's all right. Thank you very much. We've had a lot of issues to talk about this morning on trending headlines. All you need to do is go out there, grab copies of the papers, or go online and get details from each of the dailies that we've actually analyzed this morning. And we'll be dropping it right here to take on our next segment on Morning Ride Wednesday's edition. Stay with us.